I want to say good morning to everyone in Super. I want to say good morning to my staff at the Super and Hotel Police Station. Let me say good morning to Mr. Ron James, who is one of my lead supervisors right now. Let me say good morning to Corporal Sonia at the Super Police Station. Let me say good morning to Mr. Milby and all the members of staff. Ms. Portia Jabatis, a wonderful group of officers who on a daily basis contribute towards the holistic policing of the Super area. Let me say good morning to the Shoredale Police, Sergeant Smith, who's doing a fantastic job out there. Let me also say good morning to my good friends on the Super Waterfront, the people who support me every day and who come to me and educate me and inform me and even provide guidance on certain areas that I need that they may feel I need guidance on, since they have had a wealth of knowledge just being in and around that area. Let me say good morning to Dennis, good morning to Mr. Riviera and Riviera, Mr. Michael Gustav. Let me say good morning to Grandma Zone, and all those guys who, hang out near the Super Waterfront. Let me say good morning to the mayor, the mayor of Soufriere, who always drop by at the police station to check on our welfare. Let me say good morning to the parliamentary rep, Ms. Emma Hippolyte, who have passed and contacted me on multiple occasions after the passing of Hurricane Beryl, after she understood and saw the impact of the damages and what the station encountered on that day, and she has done everything within her power to ensure that the station has gotten back to some level of operational stability. Again, let me say good morning to everyone in Soufriere, the business community, everyone, all the bus drivers, the taxi drivers, the boat operators, all those persons who make Soufriere a holistic, tranquil, enjoyable place to be. Let me say good morning to Mr. Methodius Clayson and Simo Soufriere, who are preparing for our big carnival activities, which is starting in the next few days. This coming Wednesday, we have the motorcade for the Carnival Queen pageant. That will be starting from 11 o'clock in the morning and will be going on up until 6 p.m., where the contestants will be showcased through every community of Super. The Super Police will be supporting and contributing in the traffic management and overall exercise of this activity. We are expecting we will be hosting the Queen's pageant on Saturday the 20th of July at the Super Mini Stadium. So once again, we are asking everyone to come out and support our beautiful ladies. We have 6 beautiful ladies who will be vying for the title of Miss Super Carnival. So we look forward to that. We look forward to Super Juve, which is a big, big, big activity, which is on the 28th of July, and the main parade of fans, which is on the 28th and 29th of July. Again, Super Carnival has always been a spectacle. It has always been a fun activity, and we always welcome people from far and near. Not just the Superians, but the persons who come to travel from Viewport and Castries to be part of our carnival activity. So we welcome everyone and ask them to come celebrate with us. However, do it responsibly and do it peacefully. Let Super continue to be that tranquil, exciting environment that it has been. Today, with us, we're gonna have an exciting show, and with me, I always try to do things differently. I try to incorporate, in my policing and in everything I do, a different aspect and a whole different dimension to my work. And today we are at a different dimension, one that most of us we hear on the TV or in the movies, and we don't realize that St. Lucia, being a small land of 250 square miles, is part and parcel of major international organizations which contribute to major international operations. And sometimes it's good to let the public know the capabilities and competencies of our officers. And today we have a very special guest, a guest who will educate us on the international that we have as a law enforcement agency. I always lament the point that most of our St. Lucian public, what they know of the police force is police officers patrolling the beat, the CIDs and the beat and patrol officers in black and white, and the drug squad and the SSU. But there is so much happening in the background, so much work being done to be able to conduct investigations, not just locally, but regionally and internationally. And today we have a very special guest in that of Miss Signa President, who is our security officer for our Interpol office in St. Lucia. She will be speaking to us about what is Interpol, the International Police Organization. And then, when we hear Interpol, what comes to mind? For me, when I hear Interpol, what comes to mind is the Bourne Identity, James Bond, those, movies, spy movies, those intelligence movies that speaks about international law enforcement connections and that educate and highlight how law enforcement organizations are able to interoperate and collaborate internationally, and that can be done within a minute, how information can be shared. And this morning we have a very special person, that of the Signal President. Good morning, Mr. President. Are you on with us?
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Fantastic. Welcome to Police Forum, Miss.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us, Mr. President? We seem to be having.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Fantastic. Good morning and welcome to the show, Mr. President.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Mr. President. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can go ahead.
Yeah, so good morning and welcome to the show.
Yes, I can.
Seem to be having a little delay in our community.
Yeah, the connection is bad.
Okay, we seem to be having a
Hello?
little technical issue. Mr. President?
Yes,
Can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, yes, my name is Signal President, Bowen Police Constable. As Mr. Rennie said, I am at the Interpol desk, which is the extension of Interpol within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I am a 10-year service, and I have been stationed at this desk most of my career, and I am very passionate about Interpol and the capabilities that it offers us to help fight crime in the country.
Great. So you said you are the Interpol desk. Give us a little more information and insight into what is Interpol and what is the role of Interpol from your experience having been there for a number of years.
Okay, well, like you said, everybody has heard of Interpol in movies, and we're all fascinated with the work of Interpol. But Interpol, it's basically stands for the International Police, and it's one of the world's oldest international organizations, being set up in 1923. To date, there are 195 member countries which make up Interpol, and each member country has what we call an NCB. So each member country has an NCB that is connected through Interpol via the secure I-247 communication system. So Interpol, what it does, it provides support such as forensics, analysis, assistance in locating fugitives, and staying at the forefront of the global security.
Fantastic, and it's glad to hear that. And I heard you spoke about connectivity and our connection to 195 countries. So for the listening public to understand, right now St. Lucia is connected to a network of law enforcement personnel within 195 countries. So at any point in time, we can communicate in real time with persons across the globe, sharing sensitive law enforcement information. And the I-247 system, from your information, can you speak about it? What exactly it is? Not going into much detail, not sharing confidential information, but let us understand what the role of the I-247 system is.
Well, the I-247, like you say, it's a secure network, and we can communicate to the central command center, which is based, we have a couple central command centers. So there's a command center which manages all the NCBs of information going to and from. And with the I-247, we get communications from the command center and from different member states, different sending requests. They ask for information, we share information. So it's basically a secure communication system to share information and share knowledge and share all aspects in dealing with crime and international and global crime, and basically fosters police cooperations through research development as well as on the ground operations. So this is the communication, the link between every single 196, not 95, 196 member countries, as well as with the head office, which is in Lyon, France.
So I heard you mentioned, but before we go into Interpol, give us a little more about Signa. Who is Signa? Present her academic background, her law enforcement background. What are her passions? What she loves doing, and how did she get into the role of an Interpol officer? Can you give us some insight on that?
Mr. Rennie. Okay, well, I have always been passionate about Interpol since before joining the force. It has been an organization I've been very fascinated with. I've always I studied, I did my undergrad and graduate degrees in criminal justice with an aim, my main aim as to end up at the Interpol someday. So getting the opportunity to work within the Interpol desk when I joined the police force was a career, it started, I felt that it was a starting point for me to understand what Interpol was, to get to experience all the different levels of trainings and meetings. So I am very passionate about what I do, and it's like I said, it's a long-standing goal to work with the organization, and I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to do so within the Royal Saint Lucia Police Force.
Fantastic. So just for the public to know, I too at one point was attached to the Interpol office in Saint Lucia, and I have intimate knowledge on the operations and activities of Interpol. Um, and that you mentioned the NCB, that Saint Lucia hosts an NCB. Can you
Yes.
put that into context and tell us what is the NCB and how is it connected regionally and internationally to the Interpol network?
Okay. All right. So the NCB, it stands for the Interpol National Central Bureau. And our role here, it connects all national law enforcement with other countries within the General Secretariat. Well, we call the General Secretariat as the heads and all the member countries. So the executive and all 196 members. And that's where the connection, the Global Police Communication Network with the I-247. The NCB is it's at the heart of the Interpol. And when they seek information, it's needed from the NCB to help investigate criminals within our country, as well as sharing criminal data and intelligence to assist other countries. So we play a role as the law enforcement agent, the representative for Interpol within our country. And the NCB also help develop trainings. We help raise awareness of Interpol activities, services, and all the databases that are available to all police officers using the Interpol network. So there are 19 databases that we have access to, that we can support our local law enforcement with statistics, with anything what to do with certain crimes, the major crimes, stolen motor vehicles. We have databases on lost or stolen travel documents. There are databases on even works of art. So the NCB connects us with Interpol, and we assist our local police with the information available at the NCB. So it's the heart of Interpol.
Yeah, excellent. And I'm happy you spoke about the Interpol databases because last week, well, the two previous shows we've had with us here, we had the head of the Scenes of Crime Unit, Sergeant Donatien, who was here and spoke about the role of, a crime scene officer on a crime scene. And that was followed up by the presence of the director of the forensic lab, Ms. Fernanda Henry, who spoke about how the forensic lab supports law enforcement investigations and supports, the police investigation into serious unorganized crime. And now we have you, Ms. President, who is from the Interpol office. So what basically we're trying to do is try to show the public the amount of work that goes into an investigation. And it's not just about the police work in isolation, but how we interoperate with all partner agencies. And you spoke about the Interpol database, and that is critical to our investigation as police officers. As we understand as a country, crime is not isolated to just St. Lucia, but crime can be regional and international. We have international organized crime syndicate, which would capitalize on small islands like ours to use to operate as the base, so that because they believe that we don't have the resources and the technical know-hows of the United States of America and the British and the more developed countries. So they would believe that we are a soft target, and as a result, would utilize our country as a soft target to set up the base. And what you are telling us indirectly is that this is this is not the truth. In that we are quite well connected to all those international agencies and international countries, and there could be information sharing. Um, I know one of the databases that the Interpol hosts is also a forensics a DNA database where information is shared based on DNA analysis and DNA information collected on scenes. So clearly, that tells us that if somebody goes to Martinique and commits a crime in Martinique and believe that he or she can get away with it, that using the Interpol database, that information can be shared to St. Lucia in real time, and we can now run checks for our DNA database at the forensic lab and be able to make a match if that person is within our database. Is that what you're telling us, Mr. President?
Yes, yes. If we have, DNA is something, I guess it's up and coming in investigations, local investigations. We have, and the databases are right. We have facial recognition databases, the DNA, the iFamiliar. It's a DNA match. Like if something happens, let's say, there's iFamiliar, facial recognitions. All of these form part under the forensics. We have fingerprint databases, DNA, iFamiliar, and facial recognition. So yes, we have access to these databases, and it only takes a request from us. We have a DNA profile. If we have a DNA profile, we make a request, and if that it's in the database, then we have access to it and can use it in our investigations.
Definitely, and that's exciting to hear because what we have seen in our investigations is people believe that they could go to market and commit crime, or go to or go to St. Vincent, or go to Trinidad, or go to Jamaica, or go to the US and believe that they commit a crime and that they can come back to St. Lucia and nobody will know of it. Also, what I know that is shared on a regular basis is criminal convictions overseas. So if somebody has been arrested in the United States or in the United Kingdom, that and well, one, a background check will be requested of that of us, whether that person is known to us, and also details of their arrest and conviction, which in turn can be utilized, on our local databases here, so that at the end of the day, we have a record of you and where you committed that crime, what kind of crime you committed. So at the end of the day, it can't be a case where you come back to St. Lucia thinking that everything is merry and then you commit serious crimes in Martinique or serious crimes in the US, serious crimes in the UK, and believe that you would come back here and that everything is okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So I heard you spoke about capacity.
Yes, we do. We do.
Continue.
No, no, I'm saying yes, we do get the criminal convictions, which we pass on to our CRO, where they put it on our databases. So people think that if they commit a crime in the US or UK, and like you said, we have access to that and we get that information, and it is placed. So when they think they can come back and get a clean CRO when we go and apply for a police report, or but we were able to have these on file to show that, hey, you know.
Fantastic. Also, and I think one of the we haven't spoken about one of the more exciting aspect of Interpol, because while we're on the area of databases, you know, one of the more exciting aspects of Interpol, from my knowledge and experience, is that of the Interpol notices, right?
Mhm.
Can you speak on that? When you hear of Interpol notices, what is an Interpol notice?
Well, and yes, an Interpol notice. Like, I think a lot of people are very familiar with one famous one, which is the Red Notice. And there was even a movie called Red Notice, and it is pretty much, it speaks close enough. The movie speaks close enough to what the aspect of what an Interpol Red Notice is. But Interpol notices, there are 8 Interpol notices. There is the purple notice, which is information sharing that is posted based on modus operandi of how crimes are committed, various patterns of crime. So that is shared on a regular. There is the red notice, which is for wanted persons, persons wanted by different member states would it would issue a red notice for the person. There's a yellow notice, which is for missing persons. If somebody's reported missing, you can put a notice out to all 196 member states so they can, try to find the person. Then we have a blue notice, which is just basically additional information on wanted persons. There's an orange notice, which is an imminent threat. These, like an orange notice is like, for instance, if there's a prison break in one of the member states, orange notice will be sent out saying, hey, this is the number of persons who broke out of prison and you asked to look out for them. So an orange notice is sent. There is a green notice, which is warnings and intelligence. It's a basic information, like again, basic information sharing. If something is a pattern is noticed, they send a green notice for warnings and intelligence. And then there's a black notice. Black notice is for sent when, let's say, somebody dies in a country and there's no way of identifying them. The black notice is issued, and with the black notice, like you say, they try and get DNA, if they can get fingerprints, because it happens as more often than you'd believe that we get black notices saying we have an unidentified body, nobody knows who they are, so a black notice is usually sent. And then there's a general Interpol, there's a UN Security Council, a special notice that we work closely with the United Nations. So that is a special notice that they would put out if there's any major issue they'd like to share with the member states. So in all, there are 8 notices that we utilize on a daily that we get in via the I24 communications. So we assist if it's specific to us, if we inform that, hey, we believe this person has come to your area or your zone, we ask you to look out for them. So we get all these notices and help all member states in information sharing in identifying persons and threats around the region.
Fantastic, and that I think puts things into context as to the magnitude and accessibility that we have. When you speak about a yellow notice, and again, from a globalization standpoint, the interconnectedness of all the countries and islands, a yellow notice from understanding is a very important piece of document, because with crimes like human trafficking and those other offenses, it's quite possible that somebody um, can be missing in St. Lucia and finds himself or herself in Singapore as a sex trafficker. can find themselves in some remote part of the world, being exploited, forced labor, or any other kind of crime. So it's important that St. Lucia is able to upload that information on that individual, because I know there are quite a few persons here who have gone missing and to this date have not been recovered. The question is, are those persons somewhere around the world being exploited? How do we share that information with the rest of the world? And I think, having access to Interpol and the Interpol I-247 network gives us that ability to share information. So if, for example, that person is stopped during an immigration check, any of those countries, or during a police operation, then now that country now can run an Interpol check and verify and say, yes, St. Lucia did issue a yellow notice for that missing person, and that this person is a St. Lucia national. Here is the photo, here is the biodata, here is the date and time the report was made, here is the information about who the family members are. So that just adds, gives us that competitive advantage as a law enforcement organization to tackle crime and criminal organization. Gives us that information sharing ability that really enhances our ability to, perform our duties more effectively, more and more efficiently.
Yeah.
Um, you spoke briefly and just mentioned the red notice, and for me, this is the one of the best tools of the International Police Organization, the Interpol Red Notice. Can you speak on that? And in layman's terms, the Interpol Red Notice is an international arrest warrant. Can you speak on that, Mr. President? If you could give us some insight, so what is an arrest, a red notice?
Okay. A red notice, as you said, rightfully said, is an international arrest warrant. So in the event, and it's served for mostly very, very serious crimes. And Interpol is very strict as to what, who or how you apply for a red notice. It's not just a matter of, oh, I know this person committed a crime and I want to give a red notice. Right? No, a lot goes into the and in applying for a red notice. So as we use our the I2 connection, we put in basically you put in an application and Interpol vets this information and it has to fall within a certain set of guidelines to make it for them to approve it as a red notice. So and a red notice is something, as we know, it deals with different laws of different countries. So a lot goes into how you apply for a red notice, how a red notice is executed is not just a matter of the person lands, or they have a red notice, and then you arrest them and send them back. A lot goes into a red notice. There's a lot of diplomatic aspects of it that, you involve the attorney general. You have, there's MLATs and it is not as cut and dry, but Interpol takes the red notice very, very serious, and it's one of the most it's most widely used, but it's the most efficient, and the system how it works amazing. But it a lot goes into what a red notice is.
Yes, and I'm happy, and you made reference to a lot of terminology, and again, it shows the interconnectedness, because you made reference to the Attorney General's office. Also, the Office of Director of Public Prosecution is
Yes.
an important component of that. In that, we a red notice is issued for someone who has a request for a red notice. And we must understand the implication of an international arrest warrant. A red notice is requested for somebody who has committed a very serious crime, and that this person may have fled the country and as a result has become an international fugitive. What the red notice does is that it alerts all of those member countries that, hey, this person that is highlighted in this red notice is a fugitive wanted in St. Lucia or in the United States. And that if any of you come across this individual during your normal police operation, can you detain this individual and have him or her subject to repatriation to the country where the crime was committed. So what does that mean? It means somebody who is a St. Lucian commits a crime in St. Lucia and travels out of St. Lucia, is arrested in Martinique or is arrested in the United States, and they may have traveled legally, which means they fall within the legal immigration parameters in that they haven't overstayed, they have a legitimate reason to be in that country. However, there is an international arrest warrant. So the question is, what does that country do to that person? The that country, what the Interpol arrest red notice does, it allows that country now to be able to detain this person and repatriate this person, or what we would say, extradite this person to whatever country that the red notice was issued for. Um,
Yes.
that is a fantastic piece of tool. And Ms. President, can you tell us whether St. Lucia have ever utilized such a mechanism, or have we ever participated in such a system? You don't have to go into details, but if you can tell us, you know.
Yes, over the years, I mean, we have issued a number of successfully, that is, where the CCC approves a red notice that we have requested. So we have issued red notices for persons. We have been part of um, fine, like the person traveled to a country and extradited people on red notices over the years. I'm not sure if names, but yes, we have participated. And as a country, we have issued a number of notices. And we have been the party of extraditing a number of people to all parts of the world, from Colombia to Canada, the US, Europe, the different countries in Europe. Yes, we have been part and parcel of executing red notices.
Also, have St. Lucia ever issued an act for the extraditing of any St. Lucia national or any criminal back to St. Lucia, from your knowledge?
Back to St. Lucia? Yes,
Yes.
we have. Yes.
Nice.
And it has worked smoothly, and we've had successes thanks to, again, the cooperation, international cooperation. And we have successfully repatriated, have our citizens repatriated to St. Lucia to stand for the crimes that were committed.
Fantastic. And some of those names, ring loudly in my head right now, and it's exciting and interesting to really understand how the cooperation and how the activities of Interpol works, and again, this clearly shows that persons who believe that they could go to foreign countries, commit crimes, and believe that they will not be held accountable, or they believe they could commit a crime in solution, flee to a foreign country on the premise that the escaping, prosecution. This clearly shows that St. Lucia has connections, to 196 countries, as you specified, around the world. And as we enter the era of technology and the internet and cybercrime, it also shows that right now crime has no boundary really, and that people could sit at a computer in Singapore and commit a crime against a solution person or solution business place. And the question is, without a tool like Interpol, how would we be able to identify who this person is? How do we hold them accountable? How do the victim in St. Lucia get some level of redress? And can you tell us of any situation from your knowledge where similar has happened?
Um, yes, there are a lot of situations come to mind. We have, in terms of the globalization with crime, we've had requests from countries as Hanoi and even Singapore and South Korea and Hong Kong, with the where they share information that you know a a cyber crime. It's cyber crime, but a crime was committed, and we were somebody in Saint Lucia or some organized crime, where there is a solution component to it. So we get requests all the time, requesting, if we certain places, addresses that come up during the investigation. We've had requests for even persons, maybe even sticking employment. We've had requests for, well, we could, like, right from the French right there, requests for persons involved in crime. They have a name come up. So we get a lot. The connection with the I-247 makes it so much easier for us to communicate and share information. So it happens on a daily basis. We see these requests every single day, and we respond as best as we can. We provide information within the framework. We have to be mindful of also um, our person's personal data. So Interpol again is very, very strict on sharing data, and especially for citizens, because they are big on human rights and believe that everybody has the right, to defend themselves and protect their identity and their livelihood. So it's a very sensitive situation when it comes to sharing information, because there are protocols that we have to go through before we can submit something to a member state or a agency requesting information.
Definitely. And one of the things that come to mind, I did speak about international information sharing and cybercrime. We have quite a few persons in St. Lucia, and what comes to mind is those used car dealership that pop up and send you all kind of information. People go online and they wire transfer thousands of dollars to people they have never met or don't if they haven't even done proper vetting on, and then now they've sent taken a loan and sent thousands of dollars to a business company or to somebody, and then now expecting that they will be getting a vehicle or some commodity, and then unfortunately that does not happen. The question is, what redress do they have? And I know of situations where we have worked closely with Singapore and even the Japanese authorities
That's right.
to be able to track those persons, track their account, and be able to, if needs be, um, recover the funds and have it returned to St. Lucia. So it just shows you the depth of the, 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 the Interpol system and how important it is, to our international law enforcement cooperation. I heard you speak earlier on capacity building and training. Can you tell us, how does St. Lucia benefit from that? What kind of training does Interpol provide? Do we have access to those training? What can you tell us on that? Mr. President, are you there? Hello? And we seem to be having
Mhm.
seem to have lost her for a while
No,
there.
she's a signal.
Mr. President? Okay, so yeah, we were speaking about the Interpol training capacity building, and this is one of the main ethos of the Interpol system. From my experience and knowledge, the Interpol have an online
Oh yes.
platform.
Capacity building is one of Interpol's major functions when it comes to law enforcement and um, supporting the member states. Um, yes, I'm here. You hear me?
Glenn,
I
Glenn,
can
hearing
hear you. Hello?
you seem to be having a slight delay.
I'm here.
15 seconds delay.
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Capacity building.
Well, we seem to be having some technical
Yes.
challenges.
Breaking up.
Yes, with the connection.
Well,
But
yes. Well, like I said, like you rightfully said, capacity building is one of the major functions of Interpol when it comes to supporting the member states. It falls within all the policing capabilities: capacity building, criminal intelligence analysis, operational support. You hearing me?
yes, we're hearing you.
Oh, okay. So yes. We receive all of that, like again,
Folks, we seem to be going through some, well, having some technical issues. We just want to apologize, all right? On behalf of Miss Signal President. Okay, but already with
Technology.
technology,
Yes.
with technology, the internet, that it happens. It happens. Yeah. Whether you using Wi-Fi or data, it will happen. So again, we apologize. Okay, and she has left us.
Yeah. Well, we seem to be having some problems.
Yeah,
But again, I think this president has given us a
what?
wealth of,
Yes, yes, she did.
information
She did.
on the role of the Interpol. And speaking of capacity building, the Interpol have a platform designed for law enforcement where it's called the Interpol e-learning platform, where police officers are exposed to internationally, international training, where in various law enforcement areas, a police officer can log in at any point in time. I think in academics, I think there is this one called Coursera where you could log in and then you could do lectures from some of the major universities around the world. But so Interpol's e-learning platform is one similar to that, but it's tailored for law enforcement personnel. So all the major law enforcement agencies around the world, the FBI, the NCA, National Crime Agency in the UK, all the major law enforcement agencies would upload, certain course and training that they would make available to law enforcement personnel, and police officers can sign in and participate in those training. Um, that includes training such as serious crime investigations, cybercrime, digital forensics, um, drug investigations, forensics, some aspect of crime scene analysis and evidence collection. There are thousands of different courses on there that our officers do participate in on a regular basis. And that really helps us in our ability to meet international standards in investigative techniques, being able to, you know, perform our duties at the standard as those officers within the FBI or the Metropolitan Police or the National Crime Agency, and that is a continuous capacity building process which the police force, and not just the police force, but every other law enforcement agency on the island participate in. So customs, for example, because Interpol, as much as it is an international police organization, it supports not just the police but every other law enforcement agency. So, for example, customs and excise department will receive training and information on stolen items, stolen motor vehicles, stolen travel documents, and that those systems are available through them. So people who believe that they could go to the UK or different parts of the world or Martinique and steal vehicles and steal scooters and believe that they could come back to St. Lucia with it, thinking that they, it cannot be traced back to the original owner. That can be done for a click of a database. As long as an official report is made in Martinique that my scooter was stolen, chassis number is XYZ, engine number is XYZ, as long as that is that's uploaded onto the system, right? Our police officers during the traffic checks can take that information, forward it to the Interpol office, and say, hey, can you run a check on that scooter for me? We can find that scooter. This individual is saying that he bought it legitimately. Can you check that database to verify whether it's a stolen scooter? And then now, within a click of the mouse, that information can be made back available to the investigator. Yes, this bike was reported stolen during a robbery in Martinique, and during that robbery, the victim sustained serious injuries, which later resulted in him succumbing to the injuries. And we are now conducting an active homicide investigation. Can you detain this individual that you have in your custody and let me explain how he or she got that bike? And those things are important for the people to understand, because a lot of our young people they want to go buy, scooters or they purchase. Somebody comes with a scooter, they want to purchase it from that person, not even doing a proper background check as to how that scooter landed here. Where are the customs documents for that scooter? Was that scooter registered? Is that scooter part of a crime?
The battery, you go and invest your money in that.
And you go invest your money in that, right? And then now the police are now arresting you as the primary suspect in a homicide in Martinique, which can at some point even, amount to a international arrest warrant be issued for you, and the possibility of you being extradited to Martinique. So it is important that we understand the risk we take when we engage in such practices. Even firearm purchase, for example, people are purchasing firearm illegally, believing that, hey, for people who have, criminal groups believe that they could sell a firearm, they've used a firearm 3 or 4 times in a crime. They believe that if they keep that weapon in their possession, that weapon now can be traced back to them or trace them to put them on a scene. So they decide that, hey, I'm going to send from Trinidad or from St. Vincent, I'm going to send to St. Lucia, or from St. Lucia, I'm going to send to Martinique, right? Believing that as long as it leaves the state, that there's no ability to trace it back to the state. However, that is not the case. Through our firearms databases, for our ballistic databases, there is the ability to trace those weapons, trace those vehicles back to a crime scene in St. Lucia, a crime scene in Martinique, a crime scene in Trinidad. So it's important that we understand the interconnectivity of law enforcement, the powers that law enforcement have to be able to interact with law enforcement agencies, not just within St. Lucia, not just within the OECS, not just within CARICOM, but internationally. I can speak of some very prominent cases and operations that have been coordinated regionally and internationally. So, for example, we had a case where we have a high-profile, narcotics trafficker who dominated the region from South America, Martinique, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, and he was wanted by the French, because he was responsible for the shipment of large amount of drugs to France, to mainland France, and as a result, an international arrest warrant was issued for him. And solely, he did travel through our beautiful island, at some point during his drug activities, and we were able to identify that. Our immigration officer were able to establish, hey, this guy has an international arrest warrant. Our officers were able to have him arrested at the airport, and he was kept in custody. And the French were informed that, hey, this guy is in our custody. Can we get the relevant documentation to facilitate his extradition to the French territory? And I could tell you that he was a very high profile narco trafficker, and we had to be continuously doing risk assessments and threat assessments and put the security measures in place to ensure that he did not escape the facility while he was awaiting extradition. And we were able to successfully have him extradited to the French territory, where he is now serving, time in the beautiful French prison, thanks to our international connections and our ability to interoperate as law enforcement agencies. And that's just one, one incident. There are so many incidents on a daily basis. It's not spoken about in the media, because some of it is very sensitive. Some of them probably the operations are very overt, and you don't want to go into details and put it out there. But it is something that happens almost on a daily basis. So this is why we took the opportunity to now allow the listening public to know that St. Lucia is not just operating in isolation, that we are connected to a lot of other law enforcement agencies, and that we do share information on a daily basis. I can tell you, just been having worked there on the I-24/7 dashboard on a daily basis, you get no less than 2 or 3 emails, just information sharing from all different islands, all different countries, highlighting, hey, is this person known to you all? Have you come across this name? Is Kimori a person of interest? We just arrested him here. And that kind of information sharing, and that happens in real time. So as soon as this person is arrested, a message sent to St. Lucia, and St. Lucia is now able to run its check through a database, verify who this person is. Okay, yes, he's wanted, no, he's not wanted. He's a person of interest, what his history is, and then now that is shared in real time, so that if a decision can be made, in real time within this 72 hours of his detention as to whether he be released or whether he be sent back to St. Lucia. So it just shows you, how interconnected we are as a country, and how the police has contributed to major international successes, right? Because that narco trafficker was a big time trafficker, and Lil St. Lucia was able to contribute to his successful, conviction. So those are the kind of work that we do as law enforcement that we don't brag about, but it happens, and it happens almost on a daily basis.
Shout out to all the police officers locking it down. We have John Verjuk is locked up. Give myself Verjuk. All right. Let me say good morning to Thekla, Renee, also Shewin Zavi. All right, on all you guys in Radio Land, Inside Police Forum. So yes, continue just before I wait. Wow, that's time.
Yes, I realize we're at 10 o'clock. In light of that, I know there's so much more to say. Whenever we come here,
Always informative. Very
whenever we come here, we never have enough time, to really be able to tell the public all what we want to tell them. But again, police forum is every Friday, so there will be time. We will make the time to educate the public on the excellent work that the police do, how the police contribute to the civil security of every St. Lucian, how super police is driving the ethos of community policing and a professional policing service to each and every member of the super sugar community, and overall contribute to St. Lucia's economic and social survival. So I want to thank everyone for listening in. I want to thank all those persons who support the police on a daily basis. I ask to continue supporting us, continue to being, the keeper of our peace and tranquility, because like the police principle says, the police is the public and the public is the police. Every single person has a responsibility to contribute to the safety and security of every single person on this island, whether it be a local or whether it be a tourist spending the day in our island, that we are all responsible for his or her safety. So with that, I want to thank you for having me. Looking forward to the next police forum. Again, I encourage everyone, our police crime tip line 555, don't hesitate. If you have sensitive information, contact the hotline, and I can guarantee you a police response will be activated immediately to provide some level of security and safety to each and everyone. Thank you so very much.
Of course, confidentiality.
Confidentiality that they have, and that's why it was different, because we understand some of the concerns. We know that persons, sometimes don't always feel comfortable. And that, I believe I can tell you, is sometimes not as a result of evidence that they have, but because of hearsay. They heard somebody say, so they repeat that the police leak out information. But I can tell you the 555 hotline is one that is very confidential, very secure, and that as long as you contact that hotline, then a response will be deployed to your information, to your request. So with that, I want to say thank everyone. Thanks, Sufre. Have a wonderful day. A peaceful and enjoyable carnival weekend.
True.
Thank you very
That's
much.
right. So kind of a very boy.
Essential.